So The Flash is coming out June 16th. That's about a week away, actually, or a week, 10 days, I want to say. Less than 10 days, 9 days, actually. I'm recording this the night of June 7th. With all that being said, I know this is not my usual content. I know I primarily do like Grand Theft Auto Online and Red Dead Online videos, but I do like DC and Marvel a lot. Mainly, I like DC quite a bit more than Marvel, but yeah, I wanted to make a review of the Tim Burton Batman movies along with the DC extended universe because all those movies tie into the Flash because the Flash is going to be like the reset for the new DC universe, cinematic universe, whatever. So, with all that being said, let's just jump right into it in this review of Batman 1989, directed by Tim Burton. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump into it. Yeah, so this movie came out over 30 years ago, and honestly, it hasn't aged badly at all. It aged pretty good. Like in comparison to the newer Batman movies in this era, like Batman and Robin, that aged terribly in comparison to this Batman movie. And I haven't seen this Batman movie. I've watched it when I was a kid, but I haven't seen it since I was a kid. I was like 3 maybe when I saw this. I remember the I would watch this Batman Returns and Batman and Robin. I had never seen Batman Forever, but those are the movies that I would watch as a kid. I would also watch the animated series, uh Batman Beyond, Justice League, and the Adam West TV series as when I was little, when I was like 3 or 4 years old. But as a Gen Zer, Zoomer, whatever you want to call me, like this is a pretty good Batman movie. Like I think the gold standard for Batman movies, like live action, has to be the Robert Pattinson Batman. That is easily top three best Batman movies. Honestly, that and the Nolan trilogy, and the Batflick movies. Well, he never got a solo movie, unfortunately, but his character at least, you know. Well, anyways, this movie, like I said, it aged pretty good, and in comparison to the movies that came out around the same time, like the 3 movies after this, you know, it aged a lot better than those movies. And the story is pretty simple. What I don't like about the story is like I don't like when they do Joker origin stories. Now, Joker 2019, that movie, that's a whole different thing because that's not even meant to be a comic book movie. It's just like a drama with the inspiration of Joker. Like they're using the Joker IP, but it's not an actual, you know, it's not an actual origin story for Joker. But I don't like when they do like this Joker origin story, like Killing Joke, that film did, that the cartoon film. I don't like when they do that. I just like the idea of the Joker as being like this guy who came out of nowhere and he's just a psychopath. That I don't like the nuances to the character like they tried doing with the Killing Joke film. They didn't give Jack Nicholson's Joker any nuance really. Like Jack Nicholson with and without the makeup is essentially the same character. Joker and Jack are essentially the same character before he falls into the acid pit at Ace Chemicals, and after he's essentially not even the same character, you know. Like with Killing Joke, he was like the very timid, very like easygoing guy in the Killing Joke, and then he goes insane after falling into the Ace Chemical pit of acid, and he goes insane. And you know I don't like that. So I guess that's kind of a halfway complaint. It's not a really big deal because he's essentially the same character. Even when Bruce or Michael Keaton's Bruce Wayne pulls up the files on Jack Nicholson's character, you know, he's already insane. He's had mental health issues in the past on his file, so it's like it doesn't really change really his character. So he's essentially been the Joker the entire movie. It's just aesthetically he turns into the Joker once Batman accidentally drops him into the the acid pit at Ace Chemicals. So I don't think that's necessarily bad. I just don't like the whole origin thing of it. I would just rather have like him spontaneously is like come about, kind of like how the Penguin did in Batman Returns. I don't want an origin story for the villain. I don't want to sympathize. I would rather sympathize with like a villain like Mister Freeze or even the Riddler. I don't want to sympathize with the Joker because the Joker is just a terrible person. Obviously, like I just like the idea of this him coming out of nowhere, just being a psychopath. But that's one thing I didn't like. I also didn't like the whole plot twist, if you can even call that Joker or Jack actually killed Bruce Wayne's parents. And that's kind of weird because like Bruce Wayne in his movie, he looks like late 30s, early 40s, around the same age as Jack Nicholson. I believe Jack Nicholson and Michael Keaton are about the same age. So it's kind of weird that 8-year-old Bruce Wayne sees presumably a 20-something-year-old Jack Nicholson or Jack, whatever, you know, you see a 20-something-year-old, that's like a 15-year age difference, but they look so similar in age. Bruce Wayne's character and Jack's character, Joker, Jack Joker, same thing. It's kind of weird how they just put that in there, and then they didn't really do much with it besides at the end of the fight where Batman confronts Joker and he's like, "You killed my parents," It's just kind of like, what was the point in that, Like I liked it a lot better in Batman Begins when Joe Chill was the killer of Batman's parents and he gets acquitted or whatever. I like that a lot better than just having the Joker. That plot twist seemed kind of dumb. I could have gone without it, honestly. Other than that, I'd say it was a pretty good movie. It wasn't bad at all. I liked the action, even though like the way he moves around in the costume, because the costume isn't a costume. It's just like a giant. It's like oh, it's a onesie basically. The mask is connected to the chest. It's connected to the legs. It's just like it's just all connected. So it's not like separate. So he can't. He's not very movable in it. But it does look good in a lot of shots, especially in the dark. You know, that's what's made. It was made for. And in the Flash, the trailers that have came out, like he's in broad daylight wearing this costume. So it doesn't look that great in the Flash. But the way they filmed this movie, the costume looks really really good. And yeah, like I said, the action scenes, for its time and for what the movie was trying to do, it wasn't trying to be like Rambo or anything like that. It just wanted to be just like a comic book superhero movie, and it succeeded in that. And I like the score of the movie. I like the music. The cast is pretty good. Harvey Dent was there, and he didn't really do much. Like I thought, I know this is like very way before MCU type movies, like where they tease at the end of the movie or whatever. But there is no real tease that Harvey Dent in this movie. There's no tease that he would become Two Face, And I think everybody did a pretty great performance. Jack Nicholson, he kind of plays the same characters in a lot of his movies, like in this era, especially the late '80s. Like he just plays the same character, just crazy, but he does a good job at being crazy. I like the goons that the Joker had. Like they were just really into it, like the museum scene where they're just like dancing along to the boombox, or when they're throwing the money. It's I like the really cartoony feeling to these movies. Like I do like the Zack Snyder and Nolan films. Like they're more serious, but I do like it's Joker. Joker isn't supposed to be like a serious character. Like I do like I'm not trying to down Heath Ledger's performance as Joker in Dark Knight. Like he did a pretty good job, and I did like his performance. He's probably my favorite Joker. But at the same time, it's like I like this really dark humor, cartoony approach to the Joker's character. And although these were the movies I watched when I was a kid, when I was 3 or 4 years old, I'd watch the Tim Burton and the Batman and Robin movie. This isn't Michael Keaton to me isn't Batman, Like he's not the definitive Batman to me. Like I just can't see him. Like he does pull off pretty convincing Bruce Wayne, Like he is pretty good in that aspect. And I just don't see him as like this hulking, intimidating character that Batman really is. And like he has like his moments, like these dark moments where like I said earlier, where he confronted the Joker for killing his parents. But other than that, there's no real like out of all the Batman actors, I'd say I wouldn't be. I'd be scared of Michael Keaton the least, probably, and also Val Kilmer and George Clooney, but that's a whole other conversation. But compared to like Ben Affleck, Christian Bale, and Robert Pattinson, he's pretty. He's not that intimidating. Granted, are these movies around this time, late '80s, these comic book movies, they weren't meant to be taken seriously, and that's good. There's some movies that shouldn't be taken seriously. I like the little campiness and whatnot, but to me, it's like, in my opinion, he's just not. I'm not saying he's a terrible Batman. Like, he's far from terrible, but like, to me, he doesn't meet that standard of who, in my head, and what I grew up on. You know, throughout my later on, like when I was like in elementary school, I don't see him as Batman. Like, I see Christian Bale being more as Batman than Michael Keaton. But of course, I'm not reviewing the Dark Knight trilogy because this is about the Flash. DCEU. But yeah, I just don't really see him as Batman. Like, he's not my favorite Batman, but he's not my least favorite either. He's just like he with the script he's given, and it's not a bad movie at all by any means. The script he's given, it works. Like, it's not meant to be like this brooding, dark Batman. And one thing I will say about this movie is that, like, well, not even about this movie. This is like about the whole Batman mythos. Like, the whole. So Batman essentially has a no kill rule. He's had it in the cartoons. He's had it in the comics originally, but it's more carried out. It's been carried out more in the cartoons, and of course in the newest Batman movie, with Robert Pattinson. But a lot of people gave Ben Affleck shit and Zack Snyder shit. More Zack Snyder, obviously he directed it. They gave Zack Snyder a lot of shit because Ben Affleck's Batman was killing people. He was using guns and all this stuff. But at the same time, you can't go after those movies because Batman killed people. When this movie that everybody praises, and I think it's a great movie by the way, that everybody praises, Batman was dropping bodies in this movie, bro. Like, the scene where the Batmobile, I believe, where he broke into that warehouse of all those thugs. He drops a literal bomb in between the thugs' legs and blows up the entire building. He basically inadvertently killed Joker. He had the full intent when they were fighting at the top of that chapel. He told Joker, "I'm going to kill you." Like, you can argue, like, hey, he was mad, whatever. But no, like, he had that intent that he wanted to kill Joker, and then he basically let the Joker fall to his death. Like, he was more worried about saving the girl than he was Joker, obviously. But like, when I think of Batman, it's like, okay, well, in this movie, for example, Batman Hush, that animated movie, he tried to save the Riddler, even when Catwoman was about to get killed by the Riddler. He tries to save his villains. He's done it in the Mr. Freeze animated series movie. He tried to save Mr. Freeze. Because he wants to rehabilitate them. And that's like the whole thing with Batman with his no kill rule. So like with me, I don't hate the idea of him killing his villains in these movies, but like, you can't like praise this movie and then get mad at the other movie you don't like because you killed. That's just me. I just wanted to call that hypocrisy out before I ended this review. But yeah, this is my little review about Batman '89. I think it's a great movie. Decent, not great for action. Like, the action's all right. It has a decent like love story going on, like that plot. And if you're like a really new fan, if you don't know anything about Batman, if you watch this movie, you're like, wow, that's actually really entertaining. Like, if you just go into this movie not knowing anything about Batman, you're like, wow, this is actually a really great movie. Even if you are a fan of Batman, you can actually appreciate this movie for what it is. But that's pretty much all I really got to say about this movie. If you guys did go on enjoy this video, like and comment will be appreciated. Subscribe to the channel, and I will be reviewing Batman Returns. I'll try to drop that tomorrow. But yeah, all that out of the way, I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care, everybody.